What's up, Bigfooters, another outdoorly enthused folks? My name is Brady, and today we'll be reviewing Momo, the Missouri Monster. So Momo, the Missouri Monster is the new documentary film by Small Town Monsters and Seth Breedlove, hosted by Lyle Blackburn and starring Cliff Barrickman and Bobo from Finding Bigfoot. So this documentary starts off with Lyle hosting a show called True Yet Scary Cryptid Encountered Tales, which is obviously a riff on all of the cryptid documentaries and TV shows. So right off the bat, we're getting into that satirical element, and I am loving it already. And in this satirical TV show, Lyle is discussing the Momo, Missouri Monster legend, as well as the 1975 fictional movie, Momo, the Missouri Monster, which is obviously a riff on the Legend of Boggy Creek and the Boggy Creek Monster documentary. Momo the Missouri Monster is this in-universe movie from 1975, and it's this old drive-in B-movie that they created specifically for this documentary. It is not a real movie, it is something that they created to implement into this story. And throughout the film, they're going back and forth between this 1975 B-movie as well as the documentary elements with Lyle Blackburn. So right off the bat, let's start positive. Let's talk about what's good about this movie. And I really love the idea or the premise of this film. The jumping back and forth between this old movie and the documentary stuff, showing the dramatized elements and then telling what actually happened and the facts behind the story. And that back and forth really kept it interesting, kept it fun, elevated it to this more lighthearted tone, and I really liked that. That was a lot of fun. And it gave the film a really good energy throughout. And for the most part, I really liked this element of the Momo the Missouri Monster B-movie. I thought they did an excellent job capturing the feel of those old drive-in B-movies from back in the day. You know, your rip-offs from The Legend of Boggy Creek, after that it became such a huge phenomenon that everybody wanted to create one of these bad Bigfoot movies. And the Momo costume itself was fantastically cheesy. It was created in the same way that they would create a costume back in the 70s. It was pretty much just this big, fluffy, hairy ghillie suit with two glowing red eyes. And that's pretty much as far as it got. They had like some fake hands on it, but other than that, that's the full extent of the suit, which is awesome, because that's exactly what they would have done back in the day, and that's similar to how they created the suit in The Legend of Boggy Creek. Just something super cheap and thrown together that they could put in one of these old movies. I also really liked the cutaways to stock footage of animals running out of the way or reacting to the monster. It was very reminiscent to things like The Legend of Boggy Creek or The Legend of Bigfoot, and I thought that was an absolutely hilarious little detail. I also like that they make a point in saying that the stuff in this B-movie, for the most part, actually happened. It is dramatized quite a bit like they would do back in the day with things like Legend of Boggy Creek, but they do make a point in saying that the stuff that's in the movie were actually reported to have happened. The people in this family seeing a large hairy creature carrying around a dead dog, lights in the sky, UFO reports, encounters in the dark with a hairy creature. It's all based on actual events that actually happened in this area, in this small town of Louisiana, Missouri. And I like that they throw in a little family dinner scene for this family that's been encountering this Momo creature. The classic debate scene at the dinner table, very reminiscent of things like Jaws and Close Encounters. I also want to make note that the score throughout the film was absolutely fantastic. I loved the music in this. The music for the documentary sections and the music for the B-movie section. I thought they both did an excellent job of capturing the feel of the era, or the feel of this small town in Missouri. The music was just really well done. I really liked the music. I also really enjoyed the climax ending with Cliff and Bobo playing the sheriff and deputy of the town, and everybody going out trying to hunt this creature and encountering strange lights and seeing the creature, and it was just a lot of fun. And I really like the sort of cliffhanger ending that they leave you with this family at the end, which I'm not going to spoil because you really have to see that for yourself. It was a lot of fun. I thought that entire climax and ending was absolutely hilarious. Tons of fun, looked like it was a ton of fun to film, and that was just awesome. The cinematography was also really well done. The cinematography for the 1975 B movie was really good, and it really captured what the movies were like back then, and the cinematography of the newer stuff was awesome. There were some really cool shots in the documentary section especially. Alright, so with all the good out of the way, let's get to the bad stuff. There's not a whole lot of it, but there are a couple of things. First and foremost is the acting is awful. The acting in the old 1975 Momo the Missouri Monster B-movie was absolutely awful. And I know it's supposed to be intentional because the acting in all of those old movies was also absolutely awful. They were on such a small budget that they couldn't get any good actors back then. So they had to replicate that with this new thing, getting really bad actors. Yeah, the acting was really bad, but it also led to a lot of laughs in some cases. Cliff and Bobo cannot act whatsoever. Apparently Cliff cannot do a southern accent to save his life. He was just talking like Cliff for his scenes, which it was hilarious. I think the best actor in the movie would be Mark Madsky, and he only had a cameo for one scene in the movie. It was cool for him to get a cameo in this. My only other real problem with the movie was the color correction. The color correction for the documentary bits was really off. I believe they used 3 or 4 different cameras to shoot those documentary bits, and all of them looked like they had a different color profile, or they were all color corrected differently. I don't know if they had like a team of guys color correcting this thing and they didn't coordinate their shots or something, but like for each camera it's a different color profile. One of them looks like it was shot in RAW, one of them is just flat, one of them's super heavy color correction, one's just moderate color correction. So that's really my only real flaw with the movie, as the bad acting was intentional. My only real flaw would be that color correction. With the bad acting and the bad color correction, it started to remind me of Something in the Woods a little bit, which is not necessarily a good thing. As a filmmaker and video maker, the bad color correction really stands out for me, and I'm sure it will stand out for other movie fans as well. But for the majority of people out there, you probably will hardly even notice it. It's not really a problem with the story of the movie or any of the narrative aspects. It's just the outer appearance of the movie, which you can overlook because this movie has a lot of other good substance. Certainly not enough to ruin this movie for me or even make this movie bad for me, but it was something that I noticed. But in conclusion, Momo the Missouri Monster was a ton of fun. The information was great, the satire was great, and I never got bored with it, which is an impressive feat for a documentary. A lot of similar documentaries made with smaller budgets can get pretty repetitive and boring if they're not done right. But this was done really well, and it was really fun throughout the entire runtime. And it did have a longer runtime, getting up there towards an hour and a half long. So it is impressive that they managed to keep you invested and keep you interested the whole time. Overall, I would definitely recommend that you check out this film. If you're into any sort of Bigfoot or cryptid, UFOs or weird things, weird small town stories like this, I would say this is definitely a movie to check out. Seth Breedlove and Small Town Monsters crush it every single time with these projects, and I'm really looking forward to what they have going on in the future. So if you want to see me review more Small Town Monsters documentaries, be sure to let me know down in the comments. So if you want to check out this film for yourself, I will leave a link in my description. I do get a little bit of kickback from that, so if you do pick that up from there, that would be greatly appreciated. But really, with that said, I think that's going to about wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, thanks for watching. Keep squatching.